friends, I hope you're all well. Today is Sunday. It would help if I knew what the date was. This is an extremely late video as always. So it's Sunday the 8th of November. So the last time I saw you all, it was the announcement of the winners. So I've had confirmation that one of them has definitely received. I haven't heard from the other one, but the fact that I haven't heard makes me think that they've definitely got it and they're having so much fun. So, hello to everyone. What to tell you? As you can see, we're in a new space. So, the Stitchy room stroke office, it's sort of getting there. We're not done, it's not got furniture in it, but now that we've actually got it, it doesn't really look like I'm going to have much room for my Stitchy stuff. So, because it is predominantly needs to be an office for me, and because of the size of the room, because we actually took a lot of this room off for my daughter to have an ensuite, it doesn't really leave me much room. So I'm going to work with what I've got and try to sort of put some furniture bits in it or cabinets or something like that, but I don't think it's going to be big enough. So I don't know. My husband said that I'm just being fussy and that there's plenty enough room providing I don't go berserk. But you know when you have a plan in your head of what it's going to be like and how much space you're going to have and what units you're going to have, I sort of had that in mind. But now that we've actually got the room and I've got my very big computer desk in and my computer and my filing cabinet and my printer and my... yeah. The most I think I'm going to get is maybe a few drawers for my Stitchy stuff and maybe a chair behind me. He's put plug sockets over there, so I suppose I should be thankful that I have plug sockets. But yeah, I'll work with it, and then what I'll do is once I've got it how it should be, or how it's going to have to be, then I'll do like a little Stitchy spot place. But at least I've got somewhere that I can do my videos, and I've got somewhere that I can be out the way. So yeah, but I like it. I like my little room, and since as I do spend a lot of time working from home, this is the ideal little place to be out the way and not be interrupted or disturbed. So anyway, you didn't come here to look at a very blank room. What to tell you? Updates. Okay. Needless to say, with decorating and just starting to feel a bit more like myself, I've been going back to work quite a lot. And when I've been working from home, I've been super busy. So I haven't really managed to do very much stitching, but I have done some stitching. So, whips. So let's go over the whips. Where I can, as and when I show you the whips, I will try and insert either a video clip from the last time when you saw it or a picture. I'm not very good at this whole taking pictures of what you've got at the time, or what I'm showing you at the time, and then inputting the picture. So I should really do that, but then if I did that, I'd have millions of pictures all over the place. So what I'll do is I'll try where I can to input a portion of the video that I was showing last time so that you can see the progress I've made. Okay, so enough of rambling. So what have we got? Do you remember the really horrible fabric that I didn't like? I have a story to tell you about this. So this was the Alexandra Adelaide piece that I was stitching, that I really didn't like the colour of the fabric. So I don't know whether this is where we're, excuse the wrinkles because it's been in the hoop. So that was where it got to, and that is pretty much where it stayed. Do you know what? I think this might actually officially become my very second UFO. The Boscanu disaster went in the bin, so I can't even call that a UFO because it's been destroyed. But this is just not, I'm not enjoying this at all. And the funny thing was, this was on the hoop with the grime guard around it that Teresa, the left-handed stitcher, was really lovely enough to make me and send me. It's been sitting in a tiny little corner whilst we've been doing all the decorating and everything. So when I decided I best take it off, when I took it off, the biggest spider in the world came out. So that tells you a lot, you know, when you've got a big spider like this, sort of run across my hand as I was sort of unravelling it. freaked out, threw it all over the place, as you do, because I'm not a great lover of spiders. That sort of told me a lot. Well, you know, when you've got spiders that are sort of creeping out of your stitching, that's a little bit, it's been sitting there too long. And it even had like a cobweb on it and everything, so I was like, oh dear. So yeah, so I mean, as much as I've done, I just don't like the colour of the fabric. The fabric isn't a nice bright colour, it's not a girly colour, it's, I don't know. I mean, raspberry chocolate, it's more chocolate than it is raspberry. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be my second UFO, but officially the first one that's going to be put in a drawer and out of the way. I know that a lot of people said, why don't you just try doing the same design on a different fabric? That might be an option, but I do have a lot going on at the moment, so I don't think that's going to be anytime soon. So yeah, so whip number one, which is probably going to be now a UFO, so you might not see that one for a while, or ever again. So the next one is my Mirabilia, so Roses of Provence. As you know, I was absolutely loving stitching this one, and I'm pleased to report I am still loving stitching this one. So let me find her. So, like I said, where I can, I will upload a video, or a portion of the video of where I was last time. And this is where we're at now. So, I think last time I'd done most of the bustle. Yeah, it's really hard to do this on the frame because it's so big. Let me see if I can move you closer. Let's move you there. So, the bit that I've done additional now is this section here. So we're back onto the actual dress. And my plan is to sort of work my way across diagonally. So yeah, so she's coming along lovely, and I really, really am still enjoying working on this piece. So that is the Mirabilia. And I'm really loving the fabric still, which is bizarre because I didn't think I would. So that is the Mirabilia. Next up is my QS Grace Faces. Here's what she will look like, hopefully. And this is where we're at. Excuse all the park threads, because once again they're not very flat. This is where we've got to. So we're still not seeing much on the detail, but obviously you can see the flowers now and the orange section at the top. Again, absolutely loving this one. This one's done on the 18 count Magic Guide. So there's that one. My Hummingbird one, I have to be honest, I haven't done anything on him, so there's no point in me showing you him because I haven't done anything on him. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that I've been cracking on with other stuff, and like I said, not really been that productive, but there's been lots of building works and Lauren's ensuite and bathroom, and although my husband's been doing predominantly all of it, as and when I can, I've been dipping in and trying to help out by you know, cleaning the grout off and, you know, holding the tiles and bits and pieces. So it's not like I haven't been doing anything. Okay, so the next one up is my Twisted Band Sampler. Like I said, if I can show you a picture, I'll be doing it right now. Well, instead of staring at my face. If not, then you're looking at me still. This is the progress on the Twisted Band Sampler. So Really loving this. So at last we've finished, well I say I've finished the band, I haven't finished, I've finished this section. I've finished the little bit at the bottom where I'd run out of threads. So yep, this is where we're at. Let's give you a bit of a close up. So this is the Twisted Band Sampler cross stitch only, because I'm not brave enough to do specialised stitches, but this is the next band that I've just started. So yeah, so that is where we're at on that. And again, fabulous one to do. Thoroughly enjoying it. You know when you're sitting there and you don't really want anything that's too testing on the brain, and you just want something that's a bit more repetitive, but yeah, great. And I love this fabric. I think it's a 28 count opalescent. Yeah, it is 28 count opalescent. But it's a man-made fibre apparently, even weave. It's not, it hasn't actually got a name. I did actually ask them what was the name of it, and the only thing she said was that it was made out of, I don't know, I think she told me what the actual product was made out of, but it doesn't have a name, so that made it a little bit awkward. Okay, so that's the Twisted Band Sampler. You'll remember from my last video, or one of the videos that I actually did, I said that I had bought some Mill Hill kits, which I was going to try doing on the train. So the one that I was doing is this one, and I was inspired by somebody else on Flosstube. For the life of me, I can't remember her name. So it's the Woodland Santa, and it's Frosty Santa. So, as I said I was going to, it became my train project. So what I use when I'm on the train to keep me occupied. And this is where I've got to. So it's still rather headless. If I tap, yeah, that doesn't help, does it? If I put that there like that. No, that doesn't. Put that there like that. I've got to be honest. Most of it, I think, has been fine. The white in the bottom there, now, does that look rather messy stitching to you? Because to me that looks, I don't know, the white seems to be much more messy looking than anything else. I haven't got to bead him yet, but it's great for on the train. I'm hoping, well, I mean, there's not much more to go, so soon it will be actually, it will be the beading on the train, so that'll be hilarious. I've got my little bob tack thing, and I'm going to give it a go. So if I could, I'd video it just so you can see what happens. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But yeah, so really, really loving my little centre. So I think I might actually be purchasing some more of these, as well as, what's her name? I think it's a Needle in Time. She was saying about the Elizabeth Bradley tapestry. So I've actually asked for one for Christmas, like one of the mini ones. So I might give that a go as well, because I'm finding that because it's got such big holes in it, it's a lot easier to work with whilst on a train, especially at the moment because I'm going to work in the dark and coming home in the dark. And although it has lights, they're not very good lights. So you need quite big holes. And I believe that the canvases that you use for the Elizabeth Yardley are even bigger than these ones because you work with wool rather than with floss. So yeah, but I do get rather weird looks on the train whilst I'm sitting there stitching that. So, but yeah, so that's another one. So that's the whips of what I've been up to. I do have a new start, it's not massive. So the new start is, whilst cruising around on the internet and I was trying to think of things for Christmas cards, and because obviously I want to try and make this into a type of Christmas card, so I was thinking outside the box of what other things. I went on to the Blackwork Journey website, which is the one where everyone's got the Save the Stitches from, and in their freebie section they've got these patterns that are like got Christmas themes on them. So the one that I picked that I thought, oh, and because they're free, I think I can show the chart because the picture is the chart. It's called the Gold Christmas Star. You have to excuse that because I've highlighted all over it. But that is what it is. So I thought, well, I'll give that a go. So I purchased, this has only just come, this came in my little haul that I've got, which is the DMC Metallic E3582. I must admit it is rather coarse and a bit crunchy looking, but I've not worked with it before. I know a lot of people do. I'm not a great lover, but I thought, well, we'll give it a go. And this is where I got to, she says. Let me see if I can find a bit of white paper, something to put behind it. So here it is. And that is where I've got to. But I thought if I can whiz these up, if they're quite quick, I could make cards out of them. I'm not too sure about how my eyelets look. And the count, I think I went a bit wrong on one or two of them. But in total, I don't think they look that bad, do they? So yeah, so that's like a new little, this is my like in-house project. Like if I go on a conference call and it doesn't require me to be writing notes, I can do a little bit of stitching whilst I'm listening. So yeah, so that's another piece. Again, that one's done on 28 count even weave. How many of them I'll do, I don't know, but I thought even if I just do one or two, then it's one or two Christmas cards made up. So that is it on WIPs, really. So next up is haul. I haven't gone mental with the haul. I've basically just sort of got bits and pieces. For those of you who know, it was Donna Murray. She's a fellow Floss Tube, lovely, lovely lady. If you're not subscribed to her, go check her out. She does some great stitching, and she does it really quick. Like, I mean, super quick. She actually puts me to shame. But we've become quite good friends on Floss Tube, and you know, we've Skyped, and so yeah, I consider her my friend. So it was coming up for her birthday, so I decided I wanted to send her some bits. So I ordered her a Heaven and Earth design, but as well as that, I ordered her some bits and pieces so that she had like something to open. So I sent her some bits and pieces which got there in time, but some of the bits that I'd actually ordered for her that were amongst my haul didn't turn up, so she ended up with an extra belated bit. So, but part of the haul was I wanted to get some hand-dyed fabric because obviously I've got DMC flosses now, I've got some silk threads now, but the one thing that I haven't really got much of is the fabric. But I didn't want to join a Fabric of the Month club until I sort of tried out some of the fabrics, or sort of at least ordered some of the fabrics, so that I knew, you know, what type of fabric I could have and who does good fabrics and who doesn't. Not that anyone doesn't do good fabrics, but you know, everyone has got their own personal taste to what one that they're going to like the most. Obviously, the Mirabilia pole stitches linen, love that, but I'm not sure that I always want to be stitching on linen, so I was looking at all the different even weaves and all the different companies. So the idea is that I'll buy a little bit from every company and then find the ones, or you know, work with them and see which ones I like the most, and then join their Fabric of the Month club. So the reason I went on a little searching hunt was because, as I've told you before, I ordered a Heaven and Earth design artwork by Rachel Anderson called Rose. But what I did was I ordered it without the background. So if I show you a picture on my phone. So this is the picture. So obviously I need something that's going to match the colour of the fairy, the rose, the big rose that she's sitting on, because I haven't got the background. So I was trawling through, and obviously it's always a bit tricky and a bit difficult to work out what's going to work and what isn't. So on my little search, I went on to the Sparklies Sparkly's hand-dyed fabrics and ordered a couple of pieces, of which one of the pieces was for Donna. So, and it just so happened that I ordered me and her the same thing. So I ordered, it's called Dusk. It's a 28 count Brittany opalescent and it's 18 by 27. Now I love this fabric. This fabric is adorable and I'll show you why. Because it starts one colour and gradiates out. So this is obviously the blue. I'm going to have to do this and stand up, I know. So this is the blue and then it goes into like a pinky colour. And then it goes into like a lemony colour and then into like a lilac-y colour at the bottom. But the fact that it's gradiated as such, I thought that would be a perfect, I don't know if you can see the sparkles. Can you see sparkles? Yeah, you can see sparkles. I thought that would be the perfect fabric to have for my rose project. So, and you know when you sort of think, well, I'd like to know that I have the fabric here so that if I decide I want to do it. And because it's the type that hasn't got a background on it, again, you end up in that situation where it's like, oh, damn. Do you know what? I've just realised I forgot to show you one of my whips, which was one of the most important ones. So I'm going to backtrack a bit now. This is the reason that I actually came up with the idea to pick up this fabric, was because, as you all know, I started my Heaven and Earth design Critter Valley owl called Stormy. I'll insert a picture here. So Stormy was one that I decided it would be the first time that I'd use 25 count Magic Guide. It would also be the first time that I did it in a tent stitch. Did try the whole Caroline Mazzio's Continental stitch, but I couldn't get on with it. And I'd already started it in tent stitch, just the normal tent stitch, so I thought I'd carry on. Anyway, it got put to bed for quite some time. And then I thought, you know what, it's about time he came out to play. And since it's autumn, it's the perfect time. So there's leaves all blowing around outside and I don't know, it just inspired me to get him back out. So I don't know if I've got a picture of what he was like last time you saw him, but here he is now. So this is the progress on my little Stormy. And he's got, I'm just working on his other ear over here and he's got a little squinty eye still. I don't know if you can see the sparkles in that. It's got a lot of cranky bits in these sections and around the leaf, so it's got some sparkles in it. But yeah, so he's coming along and he's come out to play. And when I first was doing him, I wasn't really enjoying it very much. I was really struggling with the tent stitch, believe it or not. Why, I don't know, but once you've got a section of 10 by 10 in, to try and see the odd one or two that you haven't actually stitched yet is actually much more tricky on a tent stitch than it is on a full stitch. Purely because everything's on a slant and because it becomes quite bulky, because it's 2/1 tent stitch on 12. The damn camera does it every time. I'm never going to be able to get through a video without it cutting out. So sorry, as I was saying, so because I'm doing 25 count 2/1, it gets quite bulky. When you've got a 10 by 10 square that you've actually nearly done and you've only got the odd one or two, it can be really tricky to see if you've got any little stitches missing. So you have to sort of stand right back from it. So I was struggling with that a little bit, but now I've sort of started back on him and I'm working my way up. I'm actually really, really enjoying him. But yeah, so obviously because he's not a full coverage, when obviously I was thinking about what type of fabric will I work with for Rose, that was why I decided that I needed to go on a hand-dyed fabric mission to find something that would be appropriate for my Rose. And the fact that this has got the pinks, it's got the blues, it's got the lilac-y colours and almost like a creamy colour somewhere in it, I thought this would be perfect for the Rose. So that's one little purchase. Obviously because I was purchasing hand-dyed fabrics anyway, I thought, well, you can't just buy one or two, you need three, knowing that I was going to be giving one away. So the next one that I purchased again from Sparkly's is 28 count Brittany Opalescent, 18 by 27, and this one is called Ink. I've never had a dark fabric before, so I thought, well, if I get one, I might actually find something that I'd like to stitch on it. Do you know what? It's so dark. Would you look at this? I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see how much sparkle that's got in it. It's immense. So this is Ink. Now, I can't work out what colour that actually is, whether it's a... I thought it was like a grey colour, but the sparkles make it look like it's almost like a greeny grey. So what I'm going to stitch on it, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. But I will find something, because it's really, really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. So yeah, so then obviously once I decided that was it for that, I've got a couple of hand dye fabrics for this month. And then what I'll do is I'll go on to another website of someone that I've never used before and ordered some more for next month, so that way I've got a little bit coming from everywhere, and then I'll get to make my decision of which ones I like the most. The beauty of these ones is all the edges are serged, so you don't have to do anything with the fabric. As soon as it turns up, it's ready to use. I really, really like that. That's like, although I've got a sewing machine and I'm quite capable of doing it, it just would be nice sometimes to have the bit of fabric without having to do sort of the edges and all that before you even start anything. Especially since as obviously I'm a bit of a gridder, so I'd need to grid the fabric. So if it's not bad enough that I've got to grid it, I would have to do all the edges as well. So next up, I was a bit undecided on obviously the 25 count, the 18 count. Whilst I was on my travels through So and So website, I noticed they do a 20 count, a 20 count Aida easy count in white. So it's not DMC, it's, is it WiseGuard? But it's another magic count, but it's in a bigger count, so it's in a 20 count, which is, it's not like 18, but it's not as small as 25. It does feel a lot stiffer, it's a much, much more crunchy. But I thought I might give it a go on one of my Heaven and Earth designs and see what I think of that, because the 25 count I find really tough to work with because they're in 20-20 squares. This is 20 count in 10 by 10 squares. So it might be the compromise to get the better detail, but not have to go to a 25 count where I've got to count it in 20 by 20 or re-grid it. Because I mean that's silly. Like with my Stormy, I've had to grid over the fabric because it's in 20 by 20, and for some bizarre reason, don't ask me why, I cannot work 20 by 20. It's as if I learnt one way and it's the only way I can do it is 10 by 10 squares. If it goes outside of 10 by 10, unless it's a continuous pattern, I just can't do it. I'll go wrong, I park things in the wrong place. And then the problem with parking is if you do park something in the wrong place, unless you're really, really vigilant and checking every thread before you actually start stitching with it, you could be stitching the wrong colour in the wrong place. Has happened. Been lucky enough that because it's only happened in a 10 by 10, you can sort of get away with it a little bit because most of the colours are very similar. But it's not something that I would want to keep happening. And on the 25 count, I find it happens much more than on the 18 count. So I thought this 20 count might be another alternative. I'll give it a go. Don't know though. I don't know whether 2/1 on 20 count would give me would give me enough coverage as I like, say on the 25 count 2/1. I think I'd have to do a little test in a 10 by 10 square and see what it come out like. Because ideally it would be nice to do another Heaven and Earth on an Aida type fabric in 10 stitch. And the fact that this fabric is not very flimsy, I could probably get away with doing normal 10 stitch instead of a continental 10 stitch. It won't necessarily distort because the fabric is really tough, much more so than the DMC. So, but yeah, I thought it was a good idea to get and see how it works. Next up, a lot of you I've noticed it work on a lot of creams and taupe type material, especially for sort of, I've seen some bits and pieces that I'd like to stitch where it's just variegated floss, one colour. So I picked up some 28 count Brittany Light taupe from So&So, 19 by 27. It's brown, but it's like a taupey colour, but I thought it would go nice, sort of autumny colours with maybe an autumny design. I was thinking maybe doing like a small piece that you can stick in a frame and see what I think of the colour, because up until now I've not really been very adventurous with stitching on coloured fabric. So I think the right fabric with the right colours really will make it pop. And I know that when I've looked at a lot of your stuff on Flosstube, where they've used like a taupe type material, I've really liked. Like some of you done the Needle Worker by Country Cottage Needleworks. A lot of that was done, I think, on lamb's wool, which is like a taupey light brown colour, and I thought it looked adorable. So so last up on my haul, and I'm going to blame this on Emily Chadwick. So Emily, this is totally your fault. She showed us a pattern that she'd got from Nora Corbett, and it was called Cream and Sugar. And even when I first saw the chart that she showed me on Flosstube, I was like, oh, that looks pretty. Now, it's unusual because I'm not really a teacup person. Or in that respect, sort of, I need to have like a bit of art or something that looks like something. But these were teacups. And at first I was thinking, oh, they look really pretty. But then you sort of question yourself, well, why am I interested in teacups? But then she's just recently, in her last video, posted some of her progress on one of those teacups. I think it's Blossom she's working on. And it was gorgeous. The colours make the picture look terrible. It's a bit like sort of with the Mirabilias. The Mirabilia pictures don't look like the Mirabilias when you stitch them. The same with her little teacup. So when you look at the colours really pop. So, Emily, completely your fault. Yes, I purchased it. So I haven't got the whole thing so that it's not kitted up. It did say that you had the option to kit up each one on a different fabric, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually stitch them all 6 on one big bit of fabric, I think. I think I like that idea, with a border. So I'm going to do the inner border and then I'm going to do a big outer border on the outside. But here it is. So each teacup, you've got Rose, you've got Blossom, you've got Bloom, you've got Petal, and you've got Fern. I think that's Tulip. Bearing in mind I'm reading this backwards. But I love that. I really love that. So I was enabled by Emily Chadwick. Lovely girl. But yeah, so it's not a new start yet. It will be. But first of all, I need to decide what type of fabric I want to stitch this on, because I'm going to do them all on one bit of fabric. And I was thinking some hand dye fabric would look quite good with this. So it's finding something that will go with all of those little teacups, with all them colours. So that will be a mission for me. I'm not sure that I'll even start this year. I'd like to think I will. But I do have a lot going on right now with everything else. So, okay, so that is it for my whips, my new start, my haul, my enablers, my friends. Okay. So we're done. That's it. I've got nothing else to show you. I've got nothing of excitement to tell you. So on that note, I will leave you because I'm going to go and spend my entire day stitching, which I'm so looking forward to, because I haven't been able to do much stitching at all. And when I have, it's my husband flying backwards and forwards past me. So it's time for me to have a bit of me time. So I hope you all have a lovely weekend. And I will be back hopefully at the end of November, if not beginning of December, with my next update. So thank you for the likes, thank you for the comments, thank you for the subscribers, and I'll see you all again soon. So have a lovely time.